We all know that young African-American men disproportionately have involvement in criminal activities and violence for a lot of reasons, a lot of it having to do with poverty, a lot of it having to do with disruptions in their neighborhoods and their communities, and failing schools and all those things. And that's no excuse, but what we also believe in is that people, everybody, should be treated fairly, and the system should work for everyone.
President Obama commenting on the Trayvon Martin case, and nowhere is the question of whether the system is working for everyone more prevalent than in the criminal justice system, where the sequester is now decimating the federal public defender's program. It is deepening a crisis in the courts, making it even harder for a poor defendant to get a fair shake. Here's MSNBC's Ari Melber.
It's been called shared sacrifice.
Sequester was meant to be something so bad that no one would allow it to happen. And I think part of what we're learning is that we're in a new normal.
That new normal for our nation's courts? A crisis of justice. In March, sequestration swept $350 million out from under the courts. Defender services are already operating under a $51 million shortfall this year alone. Public defenders are facing double and triple the cuts as their opponents across the courtroom. Huffington Post Justice reporter Ryan Riley calls the public defender system sequestration's biggest victim.
Essentially, it creates an unequal system. Federal public defenders, with their going on furlough days and their limited resources, going up against federal prosecutors.
Take the Western District of Texas. In February, the public defender's office there faced a 9% pay cut. Then in March, the office was notified it would have to cut its budget by an additional 14%. The result? Case delays, layoffs for a third of the defenders, and a 10% salary reduction on top. Meanwhile, the number of cases isn't letting up. It's projected to top 13,000 this year.
And you see sort of multiple layers of injustice where people are funneled into a system because they don't have economic opportunities. Then once they're in the system, they don't have adequate defense because there is insufficient spending for the public defenders that would provide them with adequate defense in that system.
The real impact on the ground isn't shared either. It's black defendants who overwhelmingly are denied the equal representation they're required to receive under law. Black defendants comprise just 19% of clients who can afford to hire their own attorney. If sequester is the new normal, this imbalance could ultimately prove unconstitutional.